This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, October 1st. Please stand for the invocation led by Pastor Tony Laguerre, Public Safety Chaplain, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I greet the council this morning on behalf of the Mobile Police Department, strong and resolute. Let's pray together. Our Father, we thank you for the good day that you've made. We thank you for your good hand upon us. Our prayerful hope is that today you'd look upon us with favor, particularly, Lord, if our ways are righteous and reflect your character. We ask you, Lord, for wisdom, particularly for our city leaders today, that we'd walk humbly before you and find your mind and celebrate it. Would you bless this great city, particularly in this day, and birth in us, Lord, a hope for what is to come, and we'll honor you with it. In Christ's name we pray, amen and amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. President Small.
Here.
Vice President Gregory. Here. Councilmember Carroll. Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
It's good to see everyone this morning. Welcome to our meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic device, including cell phones, please at this time put on the off for the vibrator position, the off for the vibrator position. Any person that is desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the ordinance, the resolution, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must give his or her name. Any person that is desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office no later than 2:00 p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express to the Mobile City Council must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. Anyone who has not given proper notice to the city clerk's office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item will not be allowed to do so. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. Second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair who recognizes any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there would be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes of September 24th.
So moved. Second. Properly moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved.
Communications from Mayor Stimpson.
Good morning. It's good to see everyone here this morning. Thank you for being here. We have a couple of announcements, a couple of proclamations, and then we have a video. The announcements have to do with the observation that any citizen can see if you just ride around town, see what's happening with the capital improvement plan. And typically you think of seeing sidewalks rebuilt, and you see a lot of asphalt and repaving going on. But last week, we had an opportunity to open 9 pickleball courts at Lavretta Park and Hillsdale Park, and they are magnificent. Whether you play pickleball or not, you ought to go by and just look at them, because it's something that everybody can be proud of, just the way, the appearance of them, and how it's going to help transform these parks. And I want to thank Councilwoman Gina Gregory for taking some of that CIP money, combining with the city. Anyway, it's great to see that progress. Another thing, for those that travel up and down O'Shell Road, I've been traveling up and down O'Shell Road for 72 years, okay? And didn't really realize how blighted the underpass close to Sage Avenue, how nasty it looked. Well, we had a private citizen named Lewis Bevel offered to raise the money to fix it and beautify it. If you can think of an underpass being beautified, he convinced Councilman Penn and myself that we should take some of the CIP money, put it in to match his money, And now, if anybody that rides down O'Shell Road will see what can happen with a few dollars and a lot of imagination and hard work, I will say, really, on Mr. Bevel's part, because he has ushered that project through from the beginning to the very end, and we'll actually have a ribbon cutting, I think, later this week, maybe tomorrow. Anyway, just two of the things, the courts as well as that underpass, things that certainly make our city look better and also give our citizens more things to do with their spare time. Last week, many of you may have seen the announcement that announced that I was not running for re-election. And so it'll be 13 months. And so our focus over the next 13 months, the administrative team and working with the city council, is to define the things that we absolutely have to do, define the things that we would really like to do, and then also identify the things that, gosh, we wish we could do, but we really just don't have the time to get it done, but identify them so that everybody will know not to expect us to get that done. Because so often you can have so many things on your plate and you just won't get them done. And the reason I think that's important is that after 11 years, we've learned a lot about how to make things, how to get things done. We've also developed a lot of relationships to help get things done. Those relationships may be with malls, it may be with Alabama Power, it could be with the county commission, with the governor. And so those relationships, as people leave the administration, depending on who stays behind, you will not have those. And so a new mayor will take a little while to get that done. And it takes a couple of years maybe to develop some of those relationships, get a team in place. And so from my perspective, over the next 13 months, we have an opportunity to expedite some things, to get it done, probably in a manner that a new administration could not get it done just because of the ramp up that it takes for anybody, to be the mayor. I want to say that in the last Wednesday meeting with the city council, kind of expressing the same thing to them as I've just expressed to you, I sense that we all realize that we need to put our shoulder to the wheel and get things done. And I think at the end of the day that all of the citizens will be able to see this, but I also think that will tee the next mayor up for success. In 2014, I talked about really, and this was the first state of the city address. I said, a mayor is in a relay race. It's not a sprint and it's not a marathon. I took the baton, if you can visualize the relay race, I took the baton from the previous mayor, and I'm going to give it to the next mayor. And the way you want to hand that baton off is you want to be going at full speed, and you want to make sure he takes that baton and that you're going to win that race. And so we've all seen what can happen in those relay races. But our objective is to make sure the next mayor hits the ground running and that we've gotten a lot of things done to prepare him for success. So there'll be more to come in the coming months of things that we'll be doing, but I felt like that I should share that with you. So the proclamations that I would like to read, the first one has to do with someone's retirement. So Glenda, you're welcome to come to the podium. And I tell you what, he doesn't normally do this, but I'm going to ask Jim Barber to go stand up next to you because y'all were at the police department for quite a long period of time together, okay? So the proclamation reads, whereas Glenda Chambers has been a dedicated employee for the city of Mobile for 32 years, and whereas Ms. Chambers began her employment with the city on July 25th, 1992 as an office assistant 1 for the Mobile Police Department's Records Division, and whereas she worked for the Mobile Police Department's Special Operations Division for 24 years, after which she transferred to the Mobile Cruise Terminal, and whereas during her time with the city, she received countless awards and recognitions, including Civilian Employee of the Year, Chief's Commendation, Administrative Services Employee of the Month, and many more. And whereas Ms. Chambers has performed her duties and responsibilities during her tenure in an exemplary manner, whereas we wish her the very best in her retirement, now therefore I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim October 1st, 2024 as Glenda Chambers Day in the City of Mobile. Congratulations, Glenda.
Thank you. Well deserved. Wait, I want a picture. Can you do that? Thank you, Mayor. Okay.
Thank you. I'm serious about what I said.
And Mayor, I see some of Glenda's colleagues from the cruise terminal here. Why don't y'all wave, stand up and be recognized with Glenda as well, because I know she has spent many years now working with you all and is a
I'll stand
great
up.
person to be there and
Stand up.
the hospitality that you all provide. Yes.
When does the cruise ship come back? Joe, when does the cruise ship show back up? Mid-October. October what? October 26th. Big game on then. All right. Thank you all very much. The next proclamation is the attendees are going to be from Auburn University. And let's see, we have Autumn Edwards, the PharmD candidate class of 2026. Is there somebody here to accept this proclamation? Okay, y'all can come to the podium. Dr. Christine Korensky, got it? Very good. Well, thank you for being here. And the proclamation reads, whereas pharmacy is one of the oldest of the health professions concerned with the health and well-being of all people, the use of medication as a cost-effective alternative to more expensive medical procedures is becoming a major force in moderating overall healthcare costs. And whereas today's powerful medications require greater attention to the way they're used by different patient population groups clinically and demographically, pharmacists are specifically educated with a focus and level of expertise on medication therapy that exceeds that of other healthcare providers. And whereas the American Pharmacists Association, the Auburn University Harrison College of Pharmacy, and the American Pharmacy Association Academy of Student Pharmacists have declared October as American Pharmacist Month with the theme, Your Pharmacist, Improving Health, Increasing Access. Now, therefore, I, William S. Stimson, the 108th Mayor of the City of Mobile, do hereby proclaim October 2024 as American Pharmacist Month in the City of Mobile. Congratulations. And I have a prescription you need to fill. Is Jason Kadoulis present? Jason, if you can come to the podium. And what I would ask you to do after I make my remarks, you can bring your team with you, but this is the Mobile Leadership, the Leadership Mobile Group, and they worked with Public Works this past year and produced a couple of PSAs, and what they wanted to do was show you one of those PSAs, which they'll do here just momentarily. But Jason, if you could introduce your team members to us and make any other comments that you'd like to make.
Yes, sir. So I've got Mr. Kalinsky Adams, Ms. Portia Green, Ms. April Stennett, and Alicia Richardson, who is not with us today. So I would like to quickly thank your staff and the city. So we are recent 2024 graduates of Leadership Mobile. This program has for decades brought leaders together to do positive impacts in our community. It's a 12-month journey where we learn about the many facets of our local area, from healthcare to economic development to government. And so for us, we were part of a government team who was tasked with coming up with a project that was meaningful, realistic, and beneficial to the city. And so we were very fortunate to be connected to Executive Director of Public Works, Ms. Shonda Smith. And we came up with an idea for some public services that were either going through 311 or concerns of the citizens. And so what we wanted to do was share that here with you today. And thank you. Thank you, elected officials and decision makers, for all that you do for our community. When we really started looking at the multitude of essential functions that the city does for people, it just gave us even more respect for what you all do, as well as the city employees that keep this train on the track. So also want to thank Mr. Jason Johnson and Deombro Chapman for their assistance in producing these, and we hope this is a framework moving forward that the city can continue to use to get these fun and engaging PSAs out into the community. So thank you.
Right.
Keeping our neighborhoods clean and safe is a source of pride in our great community. But did you know that what you do here can affect your community and our ecosystem? Please don't sweep debris down our storm drains. Putting debris down storm drains may seem harmless, but it has serious consequences. There is nothing to stop debris that gets into storm drains from going directly to our ditches, rivers, and Mobile Bay. Debris can block pipes and ditches, causing flooding and polluting our waterways, harming wildlife and our coastal way of life. Let's keep our environment clean and safe, disposing of debris properly, because every little action can make a great difference.
And I assume that was water that's coming out of that gun, right? And it could go in the storm drain and there wasn't a problem, right?
That's right.
Okay, that's good to know. Hey, congratulations on doing that. The other day at Lanyap, I was being asked about litter as I look back on the things that we've accomplished. And I told them one of my biggest frustrations still has to do with litter. And I said, we just have not changed behavior. And that's really hopefully what something like this can do, because if you don't change behavior, we don't have enough people to put in the street to pick it all up. So thanks for recognizing that, and thanks for working to that end. So appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. So, Mr. President, that concludes my remarks. And Linda, I'll meet y'all out back for a picture.
While the president is coming down, I want to just give a big shout out to Leadership Mobile and everything they're doing. Of course, I was a part of the best class ever, class of 21. So thank y'all for everything you're doing.
Yeah, I do see Chris and Clinton who were here. Chris, of course, is the director, and Clinton, I think you were the chair this year. Yeah, okay. I was in a class long ago. So I really appreciate what you all have done. That was a great video.
And I'm sure, Vice President, that was the best class ever.
Of course it was. Right. Just ask any of us. Ours was the best class.
Again, good morning. This month, not only that we are celebrating breast cancer in the month of October, we also celebrate domestic violence. And this morning, we have some representatives that come from the Penelope House, and we're going to read you a proclamation on behalf of the council and the mayor. And this proclamation this morning reads, whereas once a secret kept in families, domestic violence is now recognized as a serious crime, one that has severe consequences for the survivors, their children, employers, and community. And whereas the problem of domestic violence are not confined to any group or groups of people, but cut across all economic, racial, and social barriers, and are supported by social indifferences. And whereas 1 in every 4 women and 1 in every 7 men ages 18 and older in the United States have been a victim of severe physical violence by an intimate partner in their lifetime. And whereas stopping the cycle of this vicious crime requires not only the resolve and the courage of survivors, but also the support and involvement of all of us. And now, therefore, I, President C.J. Small, District 3, and the members of the Mobile City Council, along with the mayor, William S. Stimson, in recognition of the Penelope House as its 45 years of service in our community, do hereby proclaim this month of October 2024 as a National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. In Mobile, Alabama, and urge all citizens to actively partner with the Penelope House to create a community where people thrive in safe and healthy relationships. Done at the City of Mobile, Alabama, on this first day of October 2024, signed by William S. Stimson, Mayor, and all 7 council members. Congratulations.
I never take time not to talk in the mic. Tony Antorns, Executive Director of Penelope House. I just want to thank y'all. I think it's awesome that the mayor and y'all all did the proclamation together and that y'all all wore your purple. You know, purple is the color for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as he mentioned, the proclamation, Penelope House has been in service for 45 years. And as the mayor said, until behaviors change, we're not going to see a decrease or an end to domestic violence. So we've got to reach the children and teach them young to try to break the cycle. So thank you all for doing that, and wear your purple throughout the month.
Madam Clerk.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals. We have a request for a waiver of the noise ordinance at 3370 Sheringham Drive on October 19th.
Move to deny. Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item denied.
We have a request for a waiver of the noise ordinance at 22 Hillwood Road on October 12th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item approved.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Bill Boswell.
Good morning. My name is Bill Boswell. I reside at 1609 Government Street. I am the senior advocate with the Government Street Collaborative. I'm here today to speak to you concerning the same issue that I spoke to you about last December, the ridiculous proposal to build an inappropriate mega gas station at the corner of Government and Broad, the gateway to the historic districts. Given the limited time I have to speak this morning, I have given each of you a packet of information with our concerns. I hope you will study them. For a year now, the historic districts have been attempting to meet with the developer. He has flatly refused to do so, to discuss any of the options that might be available. He evidently has no concern for the negative impact his proposal will render on the nearby residents. His narrow view sees only the profit that he will make and not the harm he will cause. This Murphy gas station, if allowed, will become the poster child for Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It is a reasonable conclusion that most everyone, including everyone here, would be opposed to having a gas station built next door. And why are we opposed to this gas station? We are opposed because this gas station will create more crime, reduce property values, increase traffic accidents, make pedestrians and bikers less safe, result in leaks from underground gasoline tanks, and diminish this historic neighborhood. The gas station ultimately will fail as a business because we will not support it. And it will be a smear on the legacy of this city council and this mayor if we do not prevent it. At the heart of this travesty is an archaic and outdated zoning ordinance, and only you and the administration can resolve. In 2015, the city adopted the plan map for Mobile. Under that, we were supposed to be looking at Government and Broad as a traditional mixed-use corridor. That was the promise, but that promise was not fulfilled. The UDC did not adopt this type of zoning. So here we are faced with a situation that must be corrected. I call on you, as I did last December, to change the zoning ordinance and strengthen the ARB guidelines. We're asking you to stand with us, stand with your constituents. If you do not, we will all miss a great opportunity to build something needed, something wonderful, and something historic. Please stand with us, dump the pumps. I do thank you for your time. I'm glad the mayor came back. I wanted to thank him for his long service to the city, for all the great things that you've done. We may not always have agreed, but I can tell you I have great respect for everything that you have done.
Thank you.
Roy Isbell.
Is Mr. Isbell present? Okay, Madam Clerk.
Hang on, Mr. President. The pumps at the corner of Broad and Government have been an issue now for, I believe, a little bit longer than a year, Billy. I had the opportunity to speak to the ARB at the last meeting where this was brought to the public or brought to the ARB, and it's unfortunate that the council no longer hears the appeals from the ARB, so that the weight of the people in the community can also be considered in their responses if it's not necessarily heard in a way that it used to be. This is one of the biggest issues that I had with the changing in which the ARB is actually structured, being that any unfavorable response to the community or to the citizen now goes to circuit court. And the way of law sometimes weighs louder than what the people actually want in this city. I think that speaking to anyone that can hear us today and members of the ARB, that you should hear what the community is saying and asking this council, even though this council no longer has any way, form, or fashion to make a decision on what happens with the ARB. And I think that if you're hearing Mr. Boswell today and people in the community that are saying no to this, then making your decision as ARB members or members of the community, then their word should be solely heard and surely heard as we go forward in our community. We're putting a lot of effort into Broad Street. We're putting a lot of effort into the interest into the airport. We're putting a lot of effort into MLK. We're putting a lot of effort into neighborhood revitalization. And sometimes we do things sometimes hastily, or developers not having a total vision of what all we're trying to do as a city kind of miss this. So I'm asking you guys, if you're listening to us today, please consider what the community and the historic districts are telling you or asking you to do as you make your decisions going forward. Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam Clerk.
Reggie Hill.
Thank you, Madam Assistant City Clerk. To the citizens and stakeholders in Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill is my name. Before I begin, I want to thank Mr. Stimson for putting the city first. With everything going on and things happening, it takes a lot of courage to know when it's time for a new direction. And while we probably never really agreed on much of anything, I do wish you and your family well during this time of retirement. I rise today to speak on those matters regarding the Civic Center, public and affordable housing, public safety, and contracts. I want to start first with this contracts component because we just heard this from the gentleman that spoke before me, a neighbor of District 2. It's a lot to hear about a disagreement and what has happened with ARB, but if we look back, and I thank my friend from District 4, Mr. Williams, when he was here because he actually entertained what I presented, that was the danger of passing UDC the way it was. It took the autonomy to have the control from this body and gave it to another board, another commission, another group. And it took away what would actually be something presented from the people from being able to come before this body of reported elected officials to make the final decision. I think if we're going to talk about encouraging those individuals to do something, we need to offer an amendment to go back and look at the UDC the same way I believe Mr. Woods had a concern with the Planning Commission. These are all the same things under that same legislation. Let's look, please, at the Civic Center piece. And I'm saying this because I just need to get it on the record. So there was a sentiment sent from the Alabama Court of Civil Appeals which stated that things had to be held off to the 25th. And so that's why this stuff started on the 26th, because we can't get any media coverage on this. I have to express this here. And so because there was an extension that was added on the 23rd, which was supposed to go to the 7th of October, that's why they're just kind of moving bricks now instead of going on with the procedure. So we don't know what's going to happen before then, because there are a lot of resources that are involved with this. And because we don't have anyone speaking up on that from this body or any legal representation, we're in the position that we're in. This is nothing personal. This is the business of the city. We're looking at this housing crisis that we're getting to, but we have nearly $500 million that are going to one structure, potentially. Whereas we have these individuals who are creating this crime that we're potentially seeing, living in these horrific conditions because we're not utilizing these resources where they could best be used. So it's not personal. I want you to look at what we're looking at, what we're saying for the best outcome of the city. I'm going to have to touch a little bit more on that later because I want to get to this Recovery Act, which I believe we should be wondering how these resources are coming down from the federal government and skipping over MHA and going to neighborhood development, but that's a whole lot to do in 180 seconds. So this public safety component piece, I don't know. It's just me, and I can be corrected if I'm wrong. It seems to me that those department heads were changed because they couldn't get the raises as interims. And so it's a little dangerous to say that instead of them being focused directly on the capacity of their service and actually creating this safe environment that we want in the city, we would rush things through. We'll continue this next week. Thanks for you on the floor.
Apostle Valenia Green.
So, Mr. President, just for public discourse, I want to explain some things about the UDC, and I think the council knows this, but for the general public, the reason that the appeal goes to the courts is because of the state statute, and moving forward with anything UDC zoning wise, if we're going to amend it, it has to come. You can't go back in time. People have to remember that Mobile is a very old city, and we preceded that statute. And once we moved forward, we had to move forward under the current state law. So that can't be placed on the council in any way, shape, or form. That's a process that was put in place by state law.
Good morning, Mayor, Mayor's Office, Council, and women represented in leadership this morning. I thank you for letting me come before you today to correct something.
Full name.
Valena Green, Apostle Valena Green, 603 Delaware Street, Mobile, Alabama, the Down the Bay community. I come to you today about an albatross. Now, my aunts reside at 460 Hamilton Street. At 454 Augusta Street is a vacant house. The sidewalk is broken. They're trying to walk the sidewalk because of their illnesses and walk across the streets of the park, which has a walking track. Now, because of them being vocal in their community about the Down the Bay Block Club, about the going on in Down the Bay, they were neglected because they spoke up about the zoning and the gentrification in Down the Bay. They were neglected. So they have a broken sidewalk in front of their house. They've asked numerous times for the handicap walk so they can exit their yard and go to the park and walk because the doctors have asked them to exercise. It's not been made available. So what I'm asking you to do is correct. Do what's right for once. Correct, because the money that you have is the taxpayers' money. And I think you don't really realize that you work for the people. So those two Creole old ladies up there that represent Down the Bay and myself, you work for us. Let's not forget. Let's not forget where the money comes from. It's great to see you, Mayor. It's great to see you back at work. I pray you're here.
Mr. President.
You done, Ms. Green?
I'm waiting.
No, are you done, Ms. Green?
Oh, no, sir.
Go ahead and finish.
And what alarms me is my family has been in that community forever. My grandmother's blood is on that land. Now, what I ask of you is to correct it. Because you have a problem with me and a problem with a problem with me and their voices, I've experienced bullying with my family. So I asked for it to stop, even with my child, for it to stop. When you send your family members for my child, I say it to stop. And this is for the record. This is for the record about the bullying with my daughter, Jemison. The one that walked the streets registering people to vote, handing out prom dresses, serving in her community.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Green.
Mr. President, first of all, I have no idea what she's talking about in terms of bullying with any member of her.
Hold on, Mr. Carroll. You can have a seat, Ms. Green.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of her family. Matter of fact, her mother calls me routinely about needs for the community and needs for everywhere else. Hadn't seen her daughter in years. But let me respond to the sidewalks in that community. I've been very aware of the sidewalks in that community, and I have spoken to our engineer with the city over a period of time. As you're aware, they are finally getting to that work. If you're in the Down and Bay community, you'll notice sidewalk after sidewalk with the handicap ramps being placed and put in position right now. Every one that is missing will be done from Washington Avenue all the way down to Hamilton Street. That includes the one in front of Mrs. Brown's house. Also the ones at the corner of Charleston and Lawrence Street that connect Prince of Peace Church that were left out, that is in front of Miss Tilly Womack's house, and all the others that have had complaints over the last year, year and a half. It's unfortunate that it's taken the city departments that long to get there, but they have been in line and will be done. So I look forward to seeing them done, and as you walk down the neighborhoods, and all the neighbors see all the nice work that's being done by everybody, I want you to remember that that was me that actually made that request. And the next time you have something that you'd like to ask for, please give me a call because it's coming. If we say that we're going to do it, we're going to do it. And that work's being done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam Clerk.
Consent resolutions held over. 4689, declare the structure at 2106 Gamon Circle North a public nuisance and order it demolished.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
4690, declare the structure at 1604 Robert E. Lee Street a public nuisance and order it demolished.
Move to table.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item table.
Resolutions held over. I will call 08, 923, and 924 out separately. 01-919, authorize agreement with Harris Contracting Services for electrical service upgrade and generator installation at the Public Works Complex. 01-920, authorize agreement with the State of Alabama for participation in the fiscal year 22 state and local cybersecurity grant program. 01-932,
That one needs to be
call that one out separately. 08-921, 922 are approving purchase orders to Sansum Equipment Company for automated side load garbage truck, and approve purchase order to Halls Motorsports for utility vehicle for animal services. 08, 925, and 926 are approving purchase orders to Chris Francis Tree Care to prune and remove trees on Spring Hill Avenue, and to Priority Dispatch Corporation for annual renewal of emergency dispatch quality assurance software. 09-927, authorized fiscal year 25 Rebuild Alabama allocation. 31-928, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive grant funds from the Alabama Department of Transportation for the Highway Safety Improvement Program. 50-929, approved TEFRA bond financing for multifamily residential rental development located at 2001 Brill Road. And 6930, does that need to be called out separately? Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
01-932, authorized project development agreement with Mobile County Industrial Park Board of Mobile County and Scannell Properties.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second in discussion.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President.
I think it's Mr. Days first, then Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to substitute what's on our agenda for a separate agreement which has been provided into the council.
Do we need a second?
Yes.
Second?
Properly moving second on Mr. Davis' amendment. In a discussion,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Days.
This, I'm trying not to recover everything I did at pre-council, but this substitute, this agreement is an important agreement for the city of Mobile. This project will involve $442 million in total development cost, 500-acre business park, $4.7 million of industrial space, will be the only platinum designated, one of the only platinum designated sites in the CSX network. It's a very important project to the vitality of the Port of Mobile, which is one of the fastest growing ports in the country. The economic impact for the city is 4,200 new jobs created, $212 million in annual payroll for employees, estimated $871 million in annual sales, and importantly, an estimated $3.5 million in annual taxes. Now, so I think that the economic pieces of this and the impact to the port are very, very important, and that's really not what we're talking about. So you get to the question of the environmental impact. So the property we're talking about is currently zoned I-2. Anyone could go out there tomorrow, Scannell could, or anybody else could go out there tomorrow and use it for any I-2 purpose they wanted to. So what we get with this, with the $2 million the city would be putting up, what we get for this is we get a conservation easement of 150 acres. We get an assurance that the property on the east side adjacent to the river is going to be R1. Any user, whether it's a rental user or the developer or someone who buys some of the property out there, to provide notice to the city of the intended use, at which time the city can either agree that fits within an accessory use or it doesn't fit within an accessory use. In addition, we get $16 million improvements in city roads, again, for the $2 million we're paying. Now, as I said it this morning, the agreement is not perfect. There are a few things in this world we all live in that are perfect. But on balance, I believe this agreement, the substitute agreement that's that I just put before us, is a good, balanced approach. And I think that I urge my colleagues to support it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other discussion on Mr. Days' amendment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 6-1. Going back to the version of the discussion, Mr.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate this. There's no guarantee of any of those things that were just described to you. If we just take history sort of as an example for this arrangement and these handshake deals and all these discussions that are happening, you know, the agreement that's before us today is in a very similar predicament the other one was. It has not been signed, has not been executed. So we're relying on this agreement, which is in control of a lot of money, $6.5 million total, to just, you know, maybe be signed or maybe not be signed. So I don't think we should support it if we take history as an example. I'm glad that there were some modifications to the original one that was presented on the agenda, but it's just insufficient. Frankly, this conservation area that's included in here, you know, is mostly protected by other means as it currently stands. Now they expanded it in this current deal. And then the traffic considerations that were a part of it for Todd Acres Drive, the signalized intersection, AlDOT and the city and others are going to require that they do that anyways. So, and then in the discussions, it's been told to me that we're moving forward this project no matter what, whether we get the incentive or not. So the question is why are we giving incentive again? Especially when it is now very attractive in the city of Mobile to have these sort of facilities built. Port is really on a tear and doing great, and it's been subsidized upstream on several occasions with the deepening and widening of the port and other things. So I don't think incentive makes sense on this deal. You know, they can move forward with their project right now. They have a core permit, so on and so forth. So that's where I stand with it. I will not be supporting it as it's currently written. Mr. President, there's some disturbance going on.
Yeah, I think there's a medical emergency that they're assisting with. Right. They're tending to somebody who's having a medical emergency. And so
Let's just recess for 10 minutes.
thank you, Mr. President.